gain as we approach the last 10 minutes of trade. By the way, put up Sula. We had the management with us yesterday. Day before yesterday, Sula saw a very large move. And I think today it's up about 6% as well. Prakash Diwan is with us for his thoughts on what we're seeing out there. Prakash, good to have you here. So let's just start with Sula. Do you like it? Quant, I think, the mutual fund, they bought 10 lakh shares. But that happened day before yesterday when that stock moved up very substantially. What's your sense on Sula?
So good afternoon, Prashant. So yeah, I do like some of their products, not all, but interestingly, it's a business that's still kind of getting discovered of sorts as on the stock market. What happens is that it's such a small segment, and because you don't have a peer group that you could kind of relate it to, it gets difficult to justify valuations either ways, on the lower side or on the higher side. I think it tends to be slightly expensive, if you ask me, given the fact that this is a very narrow market and has limited pricing power, given the fact that India is still not a country that's trending or tending towards wine consumption as much as the other beverages are there. So if you look at that 2% of a market, there are very few players. Sula stands out very clearly as a dominant player, and hence they have great market share. But any challenger who comes into that space and pricing becomes a point of challenge, they could kind of see a little bit of that erosion. And the last couple of quarters have been fairly severe for most of these players, because wine is one segment where you incur huge costs, especially glass and packaging and all that, and you just can't compromise. I mean, there's no way you move to PET bottles or any other things, and a lot of the packaging is aesthetically built into the entire experience and offering, and that's exactly why they're very difficult to cut down on some of these expenses. And that's where the margins will probably continue to be a little bit under stress for some more time. Instead of these kind of plays, if you look at the beer segment, that's growing at a much faster pace, and we've seen some of the valuations that have started getting accorded in anticipation of a burgeoning market to the likes of Bira on the private equity side. But there's a listed company, which I've tracked quite closely, in fact, and that's called Som Distilleries. Very small company at this point, just about 800 crores plus market cap, but probably is the only Indian brand that stands in the top four after Heineken and Carlsberg and Budweiser. And also, you have. It's better to take up a play in the beverages segment with something that has much more headroom to grow rather than a Sula.
All right, so more beer than wine for you, Prakash. Interestingly, Sula is also being accumulated by a lot of influential investors. Day before yesterday, they released their shareholding pattern for the month of December. And we had Mukul Agarwal's name in the sub 2% holding list. So 1.9% is his stake out there. That's perhaps another reason why the stock has been buzzing around as well. We take your point on the beer versus wine sort of argument from a larger standpoint in the Indian market, Prakash. But, I wanted your thoughts on ITC. They've gone ahead and made this announcement of acquiring Yoga Bar in its entirety over the next 4 to 5 years. The initial money that they will put in is about 175 crores for 40% of the business. 68 crore is their revenue, on target to do 100 crores this year. 45% sort of gross margins for this business. Do you think it's a step in the right direction for ITC? I mean, it's pocket change in their overall scheme of things, but it's a 45,000 crore addressable market opportunity.
Oh, yes, absolutely, Banglam. You hit the nail on the head, because if ITC were to go around, inventing or reinventing this particular segment for itself, you know how long it takes, the kind of money that they would end up spending. And remember, this is a niche that has just developed over the last 5-6 years. The conscious food segment in India is still so small, is extremely small, and it comes with great pricing power because it caters to a very different segment of consumer that's more towards the higher end, right? And that's exactly where ITC can very easily match it with some other. So they sell chocolates, which I know you are a big fan of ITC's business on the e-commerce side as well, and it's only available there. It's not yet available in stores, but it's high quality coffee, high quality chocolates, a couple of other things that are very exclusive, and this does fit into the segment which caters to that. So I think it's a good acquisition. They've done a smart thing by probably paying a bit, but then that's the cost of the burn that you would have. And Yoga Bar has actually been very successful in terms of recall. in the conscious food segment. So I think it's definitely a great play. The same things which HUL has been doing by moving into premium products or health conscious products rather than the generic ones. So this is definitely good, and ITC will definitely be able to distribute and market it far more effectively than what a small company did in the past.
Healthy food, that's the way to go. Prakash, do stay on. Need to get into a very short break. As we do that, here is an important piece of information for all our viewers. Don't miss out on the 19 must-have stocks for 2023.